just to let everyone know, the topic that we're on right now is the guild effigy and the system that they are using. And my complaint is that even if you have a loss, you can still be top three. I do not like point based tournaments. I just think that regardless of what game it is, point based tournaments are just bad. Tix was going to lay out his opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, right? Like the event, I think it is better than the one that's prior because the one that's prior is more RNG based, right? Like maybe you value RNG based more, but then like for some players who actually deals like compared to the previous FEG, the players that deals like most amount of damage, it actually gets punished for doing that much amount of damage because the strategy back then was just hitting it with like lower amounts of damage so then you don't kill the whole FEG right off the get go. But then now in the current FEG, you actually can continue attacking it. But what I don't like is that some of the rewards and achievements, they're even if you spend and if you do everything in your power, like as the best you can do, you can't get some of the achievements. Like it's almost impossible to get all the achievements. So toning the achievements, like the missions, down a bit would be like one of the flaws that they have in the current system right now is the missions. Some of them is not achievable at all. But I do agree in the sense of like if you have a well organized guild and you do all the attacks, even though you lose or win, you gain. You can still win just because it's a guild event. It's also like it 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 how do you say it it rewards people who or it rewards guilds that are active and actually you know participate in the game. So in that sense, yes, but maybe I do agree in the sense of like the loss and the win is I think the difference is only 200 points. Maybe the points could be more drastic. Like you still gain some losing points and winning points, but 200 could be like a small gap. Maybe that could be tweaked a little bit. But the one thing that actually I occurred in our guild is that the matchmaking is also still in the cluster, right? So then we're faced with the exact same opponents 3 times in a row, just because we have quite a number of whales in our guild. So it matches up with the guild that is second in line that is in power. So
Yeah,
then,
that happened to us too. We faced the same guild like 3 times in a row.
yeah, so that one could be a little bit tweaked because it's quite
It's not
it's
fair to the
hard.
other guild. It's not fair.
Exactly. Like
Not fair
maybe
at all.
exactly. That one could be a little bit tweaked because, like, if I'm in their position, it would be like, oh goddamn, I hate this event, right?
Yeah. So the matchmaking could be a basis for an argument that the point system works better. So if you have a guild that is stronger than your guild members combined, so you have to. But like now since we're recording, I'll say my topic real quick. I agree and I disagree at the same time. And my reasoning is the event is a guild event. So players who are organized and um, accomplishing a goal together should be rewarded for their perseverance despite being weaker than another guild. However, if a guild has strong members and their strength and their victories should also be rewarded in another way. So combining those two together is a flawed system, but separating them would stand to satisfy a lot a lot more diverse player base. And when I mean diverse player base, I'm particularly talking about casual players, mid to high spenders, whales, free to play players. If there's an obtainable goal, as let's get together and get as much points as possible for this reward, or let's become as strong as possible and get this many victories to get this other reward. You have different outlets at which different players can feel like they've achieved something instead of lumping them in together as to say, okay, so becoming victorious doesn't matter. It was always a group effort. That was kind of a low blow. I know people have lives and this is a video game, but if we are to be a group of players together and our strengths should be recognized as a group and not only just our participation, but the people who might not be strong but are well organized should also be recognized as such. So separating the two goals and creating different rewards for the goals also promote a ecosystem where a guild is well organized but also strong. So at least there's a way to uh split the two categories of the criteria to win the event. You get what I'm saying?
All right, I'll say this. I would I'm still against the point system, but I would be fine with it if the servers and the guilds weren't locked in the way they were, because
Okay.
it
Okay,
blatantly
that's a
is it blatantly shows that
perfect.
they're catering to the casual. We understand that, but it makes no sense why you're punishing the rest of your player base. Casuals aren't the only ones that play. There are, like, everyone loves talking about spectrums. There are wide spectrums of video gamers, and I understand it's hard to please everyone. I'm not saying that you have to and mandatorily make sure everyone is happy, but there are some decisions that are weird, and it's
Yeah.
like blatant that you just don't care about the other people. At least that's what it seems like. And maybe they're not doing it purposely, because yeah, there's a lot of different things being thrown out, different regions, different mentalities, and so on and so forth. um but it's just like, I guess just the overall, for me, I'm just like scratching my head in a lot of decisions that they're making. And it's
Uh,
just like, as a
I'll say
businessman, yeah, you want to do. I just want to say one last thing. As a business
yeah,
person,
yeah,
yes, you have a demographic, but does that mean you don't want extra money coming from all other avenues?
there's
That's my
still
rant.
yeah, no, you're it's all valid, by the way. The point that I wanted to point out, and I didn't mean to cut you off earlier. The point that I wanted to point out is this is the second Guild Effigy event, correct? Or the third? It's the
The
second, right?
second, yeah, second.
Yes, I'll play devil's advocate and just say like, hey, let's give them a little bit more time to balance this kind of event out because making drastic changes and they've obviously made the battle groups for a reason. And now what that reason might be, I can't speculate. But what I can speculate is um creating an unbalanced ecosystem. So imagine if all the servers were together and all of the regions were together and you have like an uber powerful guild and that uber powerful guild now exists in this guild effigy event. So now you are
But
depending on who you
that's
are,
the
you
point
might
of
be pressured to be that.
isn't that the point of the points, though? Like, the way the system is, like, the system is
I
supposed to
was
alleviate and allow players, like bad players, to be able to a chance to beat good players.
exactly.
Like,
So with
that's why I
the
said I'm okay with the point system if they open up the servers, because then fine,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
and then that means everyone in the world is, or everyone in these regions, are gutting against the number one, and the points is causes everyone, regardless of what spectrum you're in on the as a player, to maybe want to try more. If you're a try
Yeah.
hard versus a free to play or not.
What
or
battle
I'm
casual.
group are you in, Zangief?
I am in the. I'm on server 7, but that's as much as I know.
That's battle group 1.
Okay,
A.
great.
A. Yes. Yeah, because in my battle group, there's only one good guild, and the second best guild, they were matched up against the number one guild 3 times.
No, yeah, it's definitely
Yeah,
an issue.
so the first best guild, right, is way better than the second best guild. So they were 3-0, and the second best guild was 0-3, and on
Oh
the
god.
leaderboard, they went 0-3, and they were the second for points. How does that make any sense?
See,
Well,
that does not make
it
sense.
doesn't
That's why I
it
hate
does and
it. It makes no
it
sense.
does and it does and it doesn't.
You know, I am in the number one guild in my battle group, and I'm really happy with that. So I
Well,
3-0'd.
the reason why I say it does and it doesn't is whenever something new comes out in the game, I always think about how does this affect players who pre-registered and how does this affect players who play today. So, of course, a guild effigy event is not for people who started the game last week when Dante came out. And it is certainly not for people who started the game yesterday for Evil Ryu. So the point to give Turtle credit and the observation of victories should equal leaderboard status, I believe in that wholeheartedly. But the other side of the coin, so to speak, is the nature of the event and the organization and the timing and the overall dedication to completing objectives as a group. It should be rewarded, but in a different way. So I agree and I disagree. So, but I also agree that based on that point system and the participation system, it becomes more glaringly obvious that the battle zones are creating that issue
Right,
because of how limited the amount of players, active players, are in
I,
a potentially be in a battle zone.
I got a counter to your counter. Now, how about this? Um, if I'm not mistaken, they made it known that casual players, a lot of them are not even in guilds.
Exactly.
So here's the thing: if you have a guild event and casuals aren't playing the event, why are you catering the event to players who aren't playing that event?
Wait, I have something to add.
Yeah.
For me, I definitely agree with you in the sense of just opening up the clusters because it makes the matchmaking more like better in the sense of like okay, there's more guilds that is in the same power level, so then it's not just the same VSs all across the board because you know the sense of just making in a cluster it limits so much possibilities because some clusters don't have like for me like there's only one good guild. There might be some other, but then it's more like you also got matched with like three other same FEG members, but then it's also like okay, then the strongest guild in that one cluster is VSing the strongest guild in the second cluster or something like that. So there's like also kind of sense of like not national pride, but in like server pride as well.
Well, we have to also take into consideration that any of us at any time could start another account on a different server or another. I don't think that's a major like a pivotal observation to supplement the argument, but I do believe that it's a feature worth mentioning if we're going to uh, be
So
critical of the battle zones.
so sacrifice your all the work that you did to go to a new server.
Not really. You would exist on two servers. or you would have an account on, you would
But
have a set group of
that
fighters on a different
that
server.
seems counterintuitive to them saying, "Oh,
Oh
this is a
yeah,
game that you only play an hour."
exactly. So
Like
the
that's what I'm trying to say.
observations
Is like they're forcing players to do stuff that shouldn't be done
here's
to
here's what
enjoy
I
it.
here's what I want to put out there to kind of smooth everything out that I'm talking about. The guild effigy system or the guild effigy event is creating more observational angles to the glaring problems that we've been talking about since day one. It's people not being able to join any guild that they want, and also what the expectations are for a player to play this game. So it's always been said and documented that this is a casual game, but they are creating an environment for players to have to play longer and to be playing their game more each day. But that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to do that to achieve that goal. The only way that they would get players to start playing more is if the rewards for playing more were higher. You know what I'm saying? You have to dangle the carrot, so to speak, and propose the situation to casual players like, hey, listen, if you play longer, you can achieve this. And if you don't, you're gonna be behind. And I think that's something that's gonna take a lot of balancing, and there's a lot of trial and error there. But
What's your time with the
uh,
app open?
what's my time with the app open?
Yeah, like every week on a weekly basis, how much are you playing this game?
So my daily reset is 9 p.m. in my local time. So I'm maybe playing from 9 p.m. to about 10:30, just kind of
Do you play an
playing
hour
the
and a half a
game.
day?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's a lot.
If that. Yeah, if that.
I was
Because I'm
gonna say
just
like
playing.
like all gotcha games, they kind of reach like a maintenance, right? And then I don't think I spend an hour on them a day anymore.
Yeah, like it's a glorified Tamagotchi. The only reason I'm spending an hour a day is to I am bad at creating teams, and so it's a lot of trial and error for me. So like I'm not a full I don't have a complete mastery of the game yet in order to complete my objectives for the day, whether it be crusades or uh the inverse world. I'm still doing the inverse world. That's
Yeah,
where
I'm
I'm
doing that too.
that's
I'm
where I'm
just having
spending a lot of
fun.
my time.
Yeah, I
I'm
no, I
spending time
understand
in
what you're doing though. That makes sense though. Like
yeah,
that's where it like how you play is different. Because I'm assuming Luigi,
yeah,
you got to a point where you're at a wall or you're just coasting and you're just chilling, and then you do your
yes.
dailies and you dip, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
or if I feel so inclined, I'll try to do some Beast Zangief shenanigans. And then at the end of my daily playthrough, I'm looking at what I'm gonna try and achieve tomorrow. Like
Yeah, no,
I'm taking a look at all of my gear, where I'm gonna be tomorrow, or what
I'm the
I'm
same way. No, I completely understand because like I'll be there watching One Piece and I'll just be keep retrying the same map over and over, just trying different combinations because like I'm just testing things out. How does
to
Abel and Honda work with Elena? Whatever. I know I'm gonna die,
yeah,
but it's more about the interaction and the testing.
like what is it doing? I it's not it's not a constant I'm not constantly looking at the phone for an hour and a half. If I'm gonna backtrack a little bit because an hour and a half does seem kind of long, but the only reason I said an hour and a half is because when the daily reset occurs at 9 o'clock and I achieve everything that I wanted to do after the reset, it's around 10:30.
Right. You
But
mean
I
like you have the app open for an hour and a half, not that you're like actively paying attention
yeah
to it for the full hour and a half.
yeah I'm kind of just pushing buttons and
Right,
doing
right.
things along those lines. So um I want to say that the I wanted to get a little bit back on topic. So just I'll wrap up my thoughts on the guild effigy, and I we can move on to the next thing, or you guys can talk about it. But the here's the 2 points I wanted to make for the podcast is that the point system and the victory system isn't bad. It's not balanced. And the point system and the victory system creates more attention to the issue of the battle zones, because if there weren't battle zones, it would be easier to get active players. Because if an active guild is existing in a certain way, and you still have your guild existing in a certain way, you cannot you cannot buy or jockey for position if your resources or your reach is limited to players. Like, I can't post in the Discord and say, join my guild, even though I really like them to join the guild, but they're on server 420, and they're just like, oh, okay, we're in Battle Zone 1. Sorry, you can't join us. You can't join and participate with us and potentially be an active player in order for
Yeah,
us to get points.
it's almost impossible unless you're actively poaching from dying guilds.
Other guild,
Like
yes.
older servers are slowly just dying out in terms of like guild activities and stuff
So
like that.
the guild effigy is the point system and the victory system is not perfectly balanced, but it also creates more of a push for merging some servers together, or kind of just cleaning up the servers in general to allow for players to join guilds from wherever they're at. So it has become more apparent that that is an issue. This is the second guild effigy event. Um, I'm gonna give them some more time to figure it out and give a reason why it's not gonna pan out the way that we think. But
Yeah,
all in all, it was better than the last month's guild effigy. The rewards were better. The matchmaking is a problem, and that could be solved with creating larger server groups or battle groups. And that's as much as I'll say about that.
yeah. Just to make it known, like it's understood that the way that the servers are is gonna be like this for a minute. So just to throw it out there, like it's most likely going to stay like this for a while. That's why I
Mhm.
myself am so vocal against the server and the way it is because how Dino says, keep putting it out there. It will
No, yeah,
it'll bring it up to the point where hopefully the devs will see and change in the future.
yeah. We'll see what they do on the next guild effigy event if they change it, or it's already past
Yeah.
it's already past what we're doing and accomplishing our goal. Actually, to expand on one more thing, is about playtime and separating casual players and dedicated players, and balancing events for the dedicated players. And the guild events are for dedicated players. They're the players who play every day. They're the players who are spending. I mean, for lack of a better word, they're the players who are spending money and keeping this game alive. It at times it seems, but the the more we talk about it, the more it's becoming apparent that some of the older issues that we were talking about are still affecting the choices that they're trying to make in the future.
Yeah. I want to. That probably is a good piggyback to my spicy topic. But my next topic that I do want to talk about is something that the mods have been working towards, and something that just overall as a community we've been wanting and everyone's been focusing on is Reddit. So uh I don't know if everyone's familiar with Jbok, the moderator from our wonderful community here.
I've seen him. I've seen him around.
Yeah, but he's more of one of those guys that works behind the scenes because he's been the spearhead in basically trying to get community Reddit up and running, and we were in talks. Well, we reached out to the two main Street Fighter Duel community Reddit, the the larger one being Street Fighter Duels, completely spelled out, and the second one being SF Duel, which is the second smaller one. Um, the larger one did not reciprocate any form of communications, so sadly, we had to move away from that and work with the smaller community. Um, but it's still something that we're working towards and trying to fix and everything like that. And we understand that the audience is smaller for the smaller Reddit, but we are trying to welcome and will appreciate content creators sharing their content to help foster the community in Street Fighter Duel, as well as like guides and stuff like that. We're trying to focus, hyper focus on this Reddit to be the primary community one where it's positive. I'm going to be sharing the link right now. So there will be probably, we're trying to work coincidingly with the server. So you know how like we get some spicy information in the server, like maybe saying, sometimes Dino would be like, hey, keep an eye out for this guy who does Hadouken, he might be coming out soon or whatever, stuff like that. And any like immediate and spicy information or just general information will also be shared within this Reddit community. I will be acting as the community manager liaison. So what that means is that this Reddit is community ran. It will staff has no hand in this whatsoever. So they're not controlling what's going up. They're not controlling what's being said. None of that. All they want is to help foster a good community by giving information or giving whatever they can freely give. And I will be the middleman in terms of like that information. So if we get anything that the staff will deem worthy or impertinent or something really important, I will be sharing it in the both the Discord and the Reddit. I will also be, pushing out maintenance information, all the stuffs that you see here in the server that we're constantly trying to improve will also apply to the Reddit.
So, in, in essence, we're extending the consistency of information and our quality of communication into the Reddit space. So,
Yeah,
but we're not. The representation will be on our SFD, but not our Street Fighter duels or something like that. I didn't catch the names of the Reddit threads. So
uh,
one was Street Fighter Duel spelled out, and what was the other one?
SF Duel.
Oh, SF Duel. Okay, so
Yeah,
SF Duel will be functioning more or less as an extension of what we do as a community here
yes.
at at the. I mean, I don't like to use the word quality, but I am at the quality communication that we do here
Yeah,
will be
so
performed.
like this, we did try to reach out to the larger Reddit, but no communication was to be had. Um, because like just the overall as like moderators, we understood that outside that Discord in its own self is a small community and Reddit in its own self is another small community, and we're trying to make the vocal minority to actually be more than that and to connect all forms of social media together. You know, just
It's
it's just how
yeah.
business is. Social media is important, but Crunchyroll, A Plus, and Capcom and all these guys, they understand that community is important. That's why this server exists. So with like you said, we're just expanding that olive branch to another avenue. And
Yeah, consistency is key. So it was discussed in prior calls that Reddit can be kind of um, the wild west
it could
of
be,
some
yeah,
of the
it could be
dialogue.
very toxic. Yeah, this one will
Yeah,
be more.
let's not beat around the bush. Yeah, it's toxic. In times it's toxic. It's a lot of drama, and a lot of shock value stuff. But I feel that I agree that there should be some. I don't know if the word is homogenous, but there should be a melding of the level of communication that we have here on other platforms like
Yeah,
Reddit or Twitter or YouTube and Facebook. That way it's
exactly.
consistent. That way it's consistent, and the information and the overall quality of the experience of communicating with other players should be consistent through all platforms.
Yeah, exactly. And we want to try to, foster that good community, because like how here we allow discourse. Yeah, everyone's allowed to share their opinion. Everyone is free to speak their mind as long as they're respectful. And as long as you keep it within the civil manners, it works. Then debates can happen, conversation can happen. And some Reddit as a whole is known for not being the greatest place for holding the greatest conversation. But I do know where some Reddits are, they try to foster a good community, and that's our aim. That's what we're trying
Yeah.
to hope for. One
I
thing.
got I'll tell a little personal story just to kind of give some comic relief to the situation. I got banned from the Magic the Gathering subreddit because I posted a video. But I mean, for a lack of a better word, I didn't follow their rules. But at the same time, it was very the way at which the communication was had wasn't that great. So I'm actually pleased that somebody's gonna try and streamline that for Street Fighter Duel players, because my experience on some of the other subreddits have been less than quality, like how I have here on Discord. And I'll be honest though, I'm not gonna download the Reddit app, but I'll probably go on the browser and check how it's doing, and I'll try. I have a Reddit account that I can make posts from, and maybe I'll interact there.
Yeah,
But
no, definitely check it out, because J Bog did a lot of work. He brought people in, like the flares, and like it just the same way as like Dino took care and made sure he got the right people to work on the Street Fighter Dual server. J Block did the same thing. He got the right people to handle the Reddit links, the rules, the design, the concept, all of that. Everything that you're allowed to do on Reddit, they handled it masterfully. So it's new look.
oh, I'm
It's nice
excited
and
now.
shiny. Yeah, it's up.
All
They're
right, all right.
updated. Well, I
You've
do want to
convinced
share
me.
words from J Block. He did say, "I hope the subreddit can become a stable source of information for new and veteran players alike, and I'm hopeful that we can create an environment that allows for the community and the game to continue to evolve and grow. I'm looking forward to working with you all." So those are direct words that he wanted me to share, because like they worked really hard to bang this out. And that's something that we're as mods, especially in me, I'm going to be pushing it very often. Now I'm not going to spam it, because Dino will troll me and get mad at me, but expect a Reddit push on a daily or by every other day or so, because I do want, like I said, all these communities, I want to link them together and have them grow.
All it would really require is some sort of just a link, like like how you post announcements or events or things like that. Having a Reddit link in the Discord, and then that way, um, player users on the Discord has that fluidity. So you have your content creator channel with all the YouTube videos, and you have like your tier lists and your Google Docs and stuff like that in the player guides and things like that. That's fantastic. But if there's something posted to the SF Duel Reddit, it would be great if you could post those links in the player guides, that if it's warranted, like that way it's like, I, as somebody like me who uses Discord as his primary form of social, that's not Facebook or Instagram, for gaming, of course. Like I'll look in player guides and I'll say like, oh, Turtle posted something to the SF Duel Reddit, and there's a link. I am I'm actually excited to see what that evolves into, because every time that I see a Reddit link, I'm already under the preconceived notion with past experiences on Reddit. But if you're saying that you guys are polishing it up, I think that's fantastic. Because now I'll feel more comfortable clicking that link from the
Yeah.
Discord that sends
No.
us to that Reddit.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be making sure that it's not, that is moderated accordingly. That's the best way
Yeah.
that I could put it. It's going to be moderated accordingly. We are going to allow people to speak their truth, speak their discourse and whatever, but we are
Yeah.
going
I
to
mean,
make sure and maintain the civil. But also, like I said, we want, like how you're saying, you go for these guides. We want the same thing. Like I want to spread and share this information. So like all these guides and links and stuff like that is definitely going to be pushed out there on the Reddit more. And like Tick said, he's gonna try to get some players to get infographics and stuff like that. That's what we want. We want the community to be like, oh hey, I'm really good at Excel, I'll do this. Oh hey, I'm really good at this, I'll do that. And we're all benefiting off of that.
no, yeah, that's great. I think that's fantastic news.
So now
Oh, free to play casual said he also got banned from Reddit. I'm sorry, brother.
yeah, sorry, it happens. Now
I'll be sure to not I'll use my I won't use my Reddit burner account. I'll actually use my I'll make a new I'll make a new account on Reddit just for Street Fighter Duel. That way it kind of reflects what I do here and in that space as well.
yeah, we don't need to see your private Reddits.
No, no, no. My actual personal Reddit account is like, there's so much bad like, we're going a little bit off topic here. I feel like to kind of keep the jovial environment that we have. So my personal Reddit account, like if you look at the karma on it, it's like in the black hole. Like I posted
I don't
2
understand
videos,
the karma. Like I
like
surf Reddit, but I don't understand the karma and stuff like
it's
that.
like if people will downvote you, and it like, actually I had to take a moment to actually like remind myself that I was existing on the internet. And like I'm not the type of person to say that I got depressed, but I got a little depressed because I had posted content there which I thought was helpful for the community, and the community said, this is
Nope.
trash. Why
Yeah.
did you post this here?
Yeah.
It's like it's
Yeah.
like it's like your kid putting a drawing on the refrigerator, like, look what I drew. And then you look at it and be like, get this off of my fridge, dude. And I was like,
you
oh, what the hell, man?
no, you what it is like your kid, you're putting a drawing on the refrigerator, but the refrigerator is in the middle of a battlefield. And you have to
No,
come prepared.
the refrigerator is in a Walmart, and it's the largest Walmart in the entire world.
It's like the moment I share a tier list.
Yeah.
What up, have?
What up, man?
At the moment I share a tier list, everybody is like, well, actually, You didn't put Cammy at the right spot, so now you're bad at the game.
And it's like they look at it and they're like, according to my calculations, you're a dumbass. Like, oh man, what the hell?
Yeah, pretty much. Now I do want to move on to the next topic. This one's the spicy topic. Um, just as similar as in like gatekeeping information, which in some situations some people will feel that it's appropriate and stuff like that. I do wanted to basically ask, especially since there's a good chunk of free to play players in this server, and I like to say try hard and whales and stuff like that. My question to the free to play players is, why should the developers do anything for free to play players when free to play players don't bring in money to the game? I'm throwing this out as a devil's advocate in the terms of, I understand that, like how I said, guilds and servers and stuff like that. Like, I do have my own complaints. I myself am not. I My main account is not free to play, but I also do have a free to play account. So I understand the free to play and what you guys go through and stuff like that. But I also am seeing things in the business aspect and understanding that the choices that they're making, obviously business comes first. That's how the game, most companies are running things. So I
I have an
wanted to
observation.
I wanted
All
to
right.
give free to play a louder voice to explain why, just why in general.
Oh, I can't wait to argue against free to play.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because
I'll
a lot of
say
people, or a lot of people are like, oh, we want this, and it will help for the game. It will make the game better. But I'm like, how when y'all not paying anything?
It
So
won't.
I'll say this. I'll say this. Two things. I think that there's a necessary balance between the two types of player.
okay,
So you can't have whales eating each other all the time. It'd be a great business model, but at a certain time they get burnt out. So you need that low to middle ecosystem for the high ecosystem to exist. You get like it has to be. You can't just have apex predators in a food chain. In general, you got to have different levels of prey, so to speak, in order for the whole thing to thrive as prey comes into the environment. So if I don't know, this is probably not a good analogy, but if you think about the ocean and the small little organisms that grow like plankton from the sun, and then like a smaller thing gets eaten by a bigger thing until you get to a shark. But the shark will die if there's no plankton. You know what I mean? Because there's no food for the shark to eat. When you're talking about the game, when you're talking about this game in general, so the free to play players need to feel as though they're accomplishing something as a free to play player because they will recommend the game to other people. Like, of course, the ads do what they're intended to do in the way that they do. Of course, players who know other gacha players will say this game is the way that it is, but I play it because the gameplay is fun. But if you have free to play players recommending this game to people who haven't played gachas before, or players who like, because that's the first thing I'll say is like, in the survey they said how likely are you to recommend this game to other people. I said somewhat unlikely because I don't want to recommend this game to players who might come in as free to play and then might see the kind of environment that it is. But if five was more than likely and one was like not likely or none at all, right? I was a 2 or a 3 on that scale because I learned how to play the game free to play because of the community. But it has always been said that the vocal community is the vocal minority. So casual players, it like somebody you've never met or talked to about the game, or somebody who doesn't watch YouTube or doesn't even uh doesn't even do research on the game, that's the player that I'm concerned about the most. I want that player to tell other players that the game at the surface level is free to play, thus creating more opportunities for the company to run into somebody who might not know about Street Fighter or gotchas or gaming in general to be like, oh, there's a pack here for $10. So essentially, the free to play players are free advertising, but you have to create a balance in a way to promote what they're doing without offsetting what the whales are trying to accomplish. There's a balance there. It's a circle. So I don't think free to play players are having a rough time playing the game. Because the game is so new. What the game is going to look like 6 months from now is going to be completely different than what we're seeing right now. So going back to my answer on the survey, how likely are you recommending this game? It's about a 2 and a 3. It's not an outright 1. Like, I will recommend this game to players who play this kind of game, knowing that they are capable of spending money or understanding how the monetary systems work and stuff like that. So it's like a 2 or a 3, but like 6 months from now, it might be a 4 and a 5 because of what's already been established in the game, as well as balancing rewards and content for free to play players to promote a healthy growth of the player base based on player experience and not just ad revenue.
I think
That concludes my rant.
I
I
know
think
Hans and Luigi want to say something.
yeah, I'll kind of go on my tangent. So oftentimes pure free-to-play players fall into more often one particular category than the other. There are two categories of free-to-play players. There is the free-to-play player that plays because they either don't have or are incapable of being able to afford to purchase things. Oftentimes those are younger audiences and people who may have a different financial circumstance. That is not the free to play player that I'm necessarily talking about. The free to play player that I'm about to talk about is the competitive free to play player. They choose to be free to play solely because it is a challenge. And the problem is, most of the entitlement from free to play players comes entirely from that particular category. They believe that their aspiration is to prove that they can be the best while remaining purchaseless. The issue with that presented is, like you talked about, it is very true. There are people who do play this game. They maybe their financial circumstances are different, or they just decide to play it on an extraordinarily casual level. They are great advertisement. They're great to get in, but most of your advertising or most of your word of mouth are going to come from small spenders. They're going to come from people who buy a couple buck pack there, a couple packs here. They buy a character. Maybe they splurge when they get the fashion Chun-Li, or I'm sorry, flame Chun-Li down to $30. Those are your real bread and butter people. They're the ones that are willing to spend small amounts. The problem with the free-to-play ecosystem that we have right now is you have people whose purpose is to decimate the competition while bragging that they have not spent any money. So they're not the ones that are necessarily promoting the game so much as they're getting upset that a whale will have a distinct advantage, and then they feel like their quote-unquote skill cannot bridge the gap, and so that's why they take huge pride when they do defeat a whale or something like that. They're literally poachers. They're out here trying to hunt whales. And my issue is, I do not believe that it is necessarily okay to acquiesce to people who are actively choosing as a competition to remain free to play and then demand that the game get balanced around their personal choice. I do understand if things are too financially hard. I think that their sweet spot is tailored towards those smaller spenders. I do believe that free to play aspects need to be able to drip feed you opportunities to succeed. But I also believe that a large portion of this needs to be focused and dedicated towards those younger, or I'm sorry, those smaller spenders, your dolphins, your guppies, things like that. Because if you continue to focus entirely on wills, like you said, they'll galvanize each other, or they won't have anything to impress. They won't have people to impress. But if you go the opposite and you focus entirely on free to play and you make these rewards free to play, there's actually a fallacy that would state that if everything is accessible while it's free to play, then you have nothing to strive for. You will unlock things, you'll get bored. With all due respect, one thing that we're seeing right now in Street Fighter Duel that is kind of a difficulty that I'll talk on is gyms. Because a lot of these fighters are utilized through various forms of additional currency, whether it's special summons or if there's an event, there's event summons. We've only ever had that once with Monster Hunter Kin. But gyms right
Dante.
now, Dante, no, Dante could be used with special summons. Special summon ticket.
Well, I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry, I was thinking.
Yeah.
You said event, and I was thinking Dante, but you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, we've had two
Monster
major
Hunter
events.
Kin, it was a different currency. It was a different currency.
Correct. Yeah,
Okay,
and we
okay, I
haven't
follow you.
introduced. No, you're good. We haven't. We had to introduce the special summon tickets now, which focus on Akuma, at the time Dante, and now Evil Ryu. So with that being said, they demand that they get the same treatment without giving anything in the game. So the example that I'll use is sometimes you don't mind somebody coming over to your house, a friend, and they go through your pantry. Yeah, you can have my Twinkies, my Oreos, you can grab a pack of fruit snacks. I don't care, go grab a soda from the fridge. That's fine. You don't mind that. They're your friend. You invited them into your house and you're okay with that. If they come into your house every single time and they start demanding spaghetti and steak and pasta and rice and all this stuff, you're going, okay, that's my food for my family. That's reserved for the people that I'm taking care of. And that is the problem that I feel like we have. A lot of free to play players come in and they expect that because they're giving of their actual time, that they are entitled to be treated with a VIP status. And it's just not the case, nor is that sustainable. If you cater entirely to making sure that because let's be realistic, there are only maybe 10% of the player base that are like what we would classify as whales and megalodons. But at the same end of the spectrum, there's probably only 10% of the player base that is purely free to play, that is never going to spend a dime, and their aspirations are to prove that they can conquer this game and the whales free to play. So you don't want to cater to the 10% of the wealthy, and you don't want to cater to the 10% of the, frankly, kind of just the stubborn. And so that 80% that's left, those small spenders, those guys who grind the dailies, they're excited for the events, that's what we really need to focus on. And that's what the game needs to focus on. And that's really where sustainability will come. The whales will pay to keep the lights on. And the competitive free-to-plays will be the one that keeps the Discords active. But what keeps the game active with the people who don't get on the Discord and the people that don't get on the Reddit, that's going to be that 80% of people who are like, ooh, Chun-Li for $2. Sure, I'll spend that. Ooh, I'm 2 tickets away or 2 summon tickets away. Let me go spend some of the gems I earned, or let me go buy one of those monthly gym packs so that I can get special summon tickets. Those are the people that you have to focus on. And then the real question becomes, what is a healthy balance of resources that can be delved out free that will encourage these people to feel comfortable making incremental payments that will allow people to feel like what they're purchasing has merit. A whale, they're going to spend 10 grand. They don't care. A free-to-play competitive player, they're going to tell you about how dumb you are for spending $2 on a Chun-Li. But Chun-Li's a great character. Being able to spend $40 and get her triple S, that's not a bad price. And it's spread out over a couple of days. Maybe you choose to do it over a month. That's where I think it comes into play.
The balance is interesting. I want to know if Luigi, you have anything to say. If not, I'll hand it over to Tix.
No, I think that there couldn't have been a better way to talk about the separation there. Like, community is definitely the priority when you're not spending it monetarily. So, he said it.
These are all good points. I don't have any rebuttals. I agree with the what did you say? Oh, stubborn, and what was the other adjective? It was the free. I will. Yeah. It was like free place. You can be stubborn. I was stubborn for a long time, and then Flame Chun-Li came out, and I really broke the seal there. To kind of supplement the point of how do we balance that, we don't really have to look too far, because the best examples that we've had so far is Flame Chun-Li, of course. I I would say Fashion Blanca is a phenomenal example, and uh, people who were free to play like myself had access to him by investing time, but
Yeah.
people who had spent money got him earlier. So the balance can be created by imposing um, time restrictions to units or separating the banners like they have done with Dante, Akuma, and Evil Ryu. I feel like that separation between here's all the arcade coins you could ever want, but these guys are in here and you have to spend your time to get these tickets, or you're going to have to spend money to get these tickets. And we don't give out these tickets all the time. You can only get 3 per day if you buy it from the gen shop, or
We
you
could
have
go
to spend some.
down. We could definitely go down a rabbit hole of balance, but I'm curious. I would love to hear what Tix has to say.
Oh yeah, sorry, my fault. I get a little carried away. That's my bad.
Okay, okay. I'm not the best speaker as Sir Hawk, so I don't sound as convincing. But I mean, I do agree with your point because like some games that I played, like I don't know if you've heard of Vainglory. It's not really an idle gacha game or something like that. But then like most of it's a free to play game. It's a MOBA game. But
Great game.
then just because, I don't know if any of you played it, but like most of the skins you can like grind for it, or most of the things that you can obtain for cash, you grind for it. But then there's no sense of like, okay, you need the skins to. I'll get back into what I'm trying to say, but this is just like to come like talking about what Sir Hawks mentioned, like catering to spenders. Like it's definitely needed, right? Because it's a business in the end. Also, like the services is not free, so then you have to like get the money from somewhere. But like in the sense of like if free to play can get everything, it's not good. But this is a different game than like a skins economy, right? Because you don't need skins in the end. But in the sense of like okay, I never said okay. If you look at my words, I never said I'm free to play. By the way, like I can do this. I'm just posting what is possible, and people can interpret it how they want, right? But besides that, it's like some whales also. There's like a bunch of other. I'm in like the Baldies Guild and the other one, my own server cluster guild, and some of them just said like, hey, you need a break, on paying. So then like, if you need to get all these things to progress, and there's nothing to just take a break, it also is taxing for them, and also like in the sense of like what Zangief mentioned about like the ecosystem, like they need to sustain in the sense of like, okay, you know what? If no one's playing this game, I'm just, there's no one to compete with, right? But then having a balance of everything comes down to balancing, right? And I also agree with you in the sense of like the lower spender players is like the key target, like the grants and all the Chun-Li for a low price for a unit like that. Like people would buy it. I would buy it, but I'm also a college student myself. I mean, not college. I'm a university student, so then I don't have like so much disposable income that I can just spend in it. But I would break the seal of spending for Chun-Li. But then yeah, you could consider me as a competitive free to play. Like I would have spent, yes, but then I'm also trying to. I'm already in the place where if I spend, that will be just a waste. But it doesn't mean that okay if we can't gatekeep all these resources just because I'm able to get these resources. It's like catering like for a small minority. Like okay, you know what? If a small minority of free to play can reach here, then we won't give any free to play from all the way down anything, right? Because one player got it, or multiple players got it. So then there's like, okay, you know what? There's a trade off. I actually, I might sound selfish, but I'll just get off that point. And also in this, what other points I can make? Mm,
I'll I'll
okay.
I'll, I'll chime in real quick. I will agree that you personally, I have not seen you're not really an advocate for changing the way that the game is to cater to free to play players. You are mostly just trying to see what's achievable for you. Like you said, you're just trying to see what's achievable. But I will advocate for you to say like, hey, Tix is hasn't really been hasn't I've never seen you ever say that the free to play system is has any flaws. You're just trying to work with what you're dealt.
Yeah, but here's the thing, because for me, I'm already sufficient. Like my free to play experience is not the same with other people's free to play experience, just because in the sense of like I got the reward for the ones that top five got some rewards, or like in Showdown got some rewards for those phase gems. Like for me, my free to play experience has been nice just because I put in the time and effort, and it's not like people who are complaining are the free to plays that doesn't have those extra gems or stuff that they get from placing high, so they have a place to complain because they might seem like it's not enough for them, but then for me it's enough. But it's because I'm also a different free to play player than other players, so then I don't know the sense of like how they how they how to say it, how they experience their free to play, because my free to play is different. You know what I mean? So I never complain. I never
All right,
tell people
I'll
don't
throw this
spam.
out. I want to throw out this part because one thing that I guess context is like Tix is a unique free to play player, so it's not fair to jump on Tix. We're not trying to attack free to play players like how Zangief
Oh no,
mentioned.
no.
We need everyone in this ecosystem.
Oh, 100%.
So I'll throw out this. What would be a good response or a solution for those players who say, "Oh, I'm only getting one unit every 10 pulls. It needs to be more. It's hindering free to play and casuals because it's taking forever to get a unit." And this also adds on to collaborative units like Dante and Monster Hunter Ken. You know,
A
they,
pity system.
yeah. But here's
And
the
I
thing.
also have a
Here's the other thing. How would you do the pity system if we're under the assumption that we already have pity now? It's just not good pity.
I think the easiest thing to do is just like how we do it now. Every time that you do an event, there's a special currency that oftentimes allows you to buy XP, breakstones, money, and typically 3 selected units of their choice. I believe Dante, it was Elena, uh, Beast Zangief, and somebody else. I think the easiest way to do it is
Viper.
to. Oh, thank you, Viper. I think the easiest way to do it would just be to allow that particular currency to accumulate to obtain at least one copy. No more than one copy, maybe two if you're lucky. But that way, you know for a fact, even if you don't want to use your special summon tickets, you can at least get that character in your gallery. I think that that's a fair enough pity system that says, hey, you are able to do this, you are able to put this character in there, but it also comes at the expense that, oh, you don't get those breakstones, you don't get those other things. Then and you can't complain. Like, I mean, you could argue, well, I want those resources. Sure, then just use your special summon tickets and play the gamble. If you get it, cool. Then you can use it to get a second copy, get them to A plus, or you can use that to get your breakstones or whatever. And I think that's probably the fairest way.
Okay, I want to add something. Like for me, like what the main thing is like not that the game is free to play or not free to play. Like if you want to cater it towards like the low spenders, like most of the packs that in the game, like they value it pretty badly. And like if I do want to spend and I buy those special tickets for Dante or something like that, like I'm being like people already mentioned, right? They're being punished for paying like way more. Like for example, they need like five more tickets or like X amount, but then they are forced to buy the higher amount of currencies
Mhm.
and then just like, okay, actually I can't buy just 10. I have to buy a whole 50 because I bought out everything else. And it's also the value is not even there. It's like even worse. So it leaves a bad taste in their mouth. And on top of that, it's like they're not guaranteed that they're gonna get it. So then a lot of people are okay. I don't want to say a lot of people are quitting our stuff because I've seen a lot in like different guilds saying like, hey, you know what? I got shafted really bad. Like in the Baldies guild, like at least one of them in the past. I don't know how they said like, yeah, I got this in like 200 or something like that, right? You know what, it feels bad, and they need to tweak it so then the whales don't feel bad or have a sour taste in their mouth for spending. I
Yeah,
think
I
that's what
agree.
it needs to rework rather than the free to play itself first.
Yeah. I think
Mhm.
90 is a
And
safe pity. And the
yeah,
wait, the thing that you were talking about where you feel like the return is diminished based on your accomplishments, I feel like that is like a very, very good talking point because like if you were to buy 45,000 diamonds at the beginning of the game, it would have a much greater impact than someone who has played the game for 3 months. So if you were to charge $20 day one and then keep the value of that product at $20 3 months down the line, like it doesn't necessarily hold the same value. Maybe not in terms of gems because that's like that's something that still translates as currency, but maybe like if you were to be given gear or something, right? And it's like a piece of gear that's useful, like you're already accruing mats through your passive, like from having completed up to chapter 36, right? So like if someone offered you breakstones for a certain price, like what's the point of paying for the breakstones if even if you needed them, right? You're accruing a certain amount per day, it just diminished the value, right, Six?
yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, like you can say like, okay, you know what? If a free to play can do it, like why am I supposed to spend or something like that, right? But then like I put in the time and effort to like sit down and see what I can do, and that could bring like, oh, you know what, this guy did it with this, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna spend money to buy that. There's always two sides of the coin. Like, okay, you know what, I could also drive whales to spend more money to catch up or to change how they play. So then having like a player that puts in the time, it's not only just bad, right? Because it also helps, has like hidden benefits than just being free to play. Like now, because like the lead, you can see replays, you can see everything, you can see how everything pans out, and people seeing that they actually can like spend more money as well just to like to either overcome it or just to also try replicate it, which means they have to build a whole new set of like fighting
But
spirit or
instead of just
different units.
identifying the problem, like try to form a solution, right? Like if you
Yeah,
were to scale the reward with your accomplishment in game, it would incentivize you to buy it, right?
exactly. But also in the sense of like the value, even though the rewards scale up, it doesn't mean that you have to pay more money, right? Because like you
No,
see in
you
the
would be paying
poison
the
pack.
same value and getting more because you've accomplished more.
Yeah, definitely. But like we've seen like in the poison packs, like the rewards do scale up. Like they do have like the amounts do change higher, but then you also pay more. So it's this the same thing.
Right, the price is moving with the amount.
Yeah.
You should be getting more for the same price.
Now, I guess my question for Hitty is, how would you guys like to it to be handled? Because I know for me, one of my favorite things was like the King of Fighters game. They had when a unit came out, they did a bar on the bottom, and it basically it showed how many pulls you do, and then at 100 you're guaranteed one unit, at 150 you're guaranteed another unit, and then at 250 you're guaranteed another unit, and then at like 450 you're guaranteed like three copies and like maybe it's equipment or something like that. To me, that I felt was one of the better ways to portray pity, because a At that time, I was a free to play player for that game, so it allowed me to plan and prepare, like be prepared in terms of resources of like, okay, if I want to get one, I need to at least pull 100 times. And I know that will always get me at least one, maybe two, depending on luck, because sometimes you're gonna get units outside of just the standard numbers that are marked there. And I also know that a lot of players were like, oh, I always go for the 450. I put money in because I know what I'm getting out. Every time this bar happens, I spend X and I'm always going to get this. And I thought that was one of the better ways to handle pity. What would you guys suggest in terms of pity? Because I know a lot, that's a hot topic that a lot of people really want like at least know
Yeah,
about.
I'll go second. I'll go second on the topic, but
I'll go
yeah.
first. I'll go first. So for me, like having those sense of security makes people also want to spend. You know what I mean? Like if they know that if all goes south, it requires this much. But then if they're looking at it and just say, okay, you know what? What does my $1,000 or $600? I think that's still too pricey for a collab unit to pay like $1,000 or more just for it to be usable. But then that's a different topic, right? This is talking about the pity and like having a sense of security. Like if it all goes south, they're not just throwing money into the garbage because they don't know what they're gonna get in return. So then having that sense of clarity and like relief would encourage people to spend because I don't want to name this guy, but then it's in Pika's guild as well. I don't want to say his name because he doesn't want to be known as a spender, but he doesn't want to spend too much money on something that he doesn't know he's gonna get in the end. So it basically discourages him from spending altogether. That's just my input. You can go,
Okay.
Zhang.
Okay. Oh yeah. First off, I agree. I think there's a lot of good examples on games that have a pity system um, that accomplish the goal of that safety net. And the point that I wanted to make with the pity system and how I would implement it is we have a puzzle piece system in the game already. So as I'm a very, 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 very light spender. I have spent the 29 or 99 on the Flame Chun Li. Um, and I'm considering buying some of the grants because the Evil Ryu grant looks really, really enticing. Um, I'm thinking about picking up the travel perks as well for the gems, but I digress. The point I wanted to make is if a player we'll start off with the arcade coin system and the pull rates from there. Those units exist in other places like the different shops and event shops. You get them from special tickets and stuff that you can get. So that doesn't really need a pity system. But the limited tickets, however, has clearly been very how do I put this? It's there's a lot of variance there because of the pull rate. So I've personally spent the 150 or so tickets that I had saved up to get Iwaru. Um, and I got 3 copies, and that's a lot more than what people get from spending 80 tickets or 100 tickets. So the varying degree of tickets that you spend and the outcome of what comes out on the other side, there's a big difference between the users. So I believe that having a consistent system in place will satisfy not only the whales but also the people who are in that level of disparity between light spender and whale, because a whale could buy 100 ticket pack or $100 ticket pack and he'll pull his 40 tickets and he won't even get one, where if you look at the 3 copies that I've gotten out of 150 tickets, it would stand to reason that by that metric, I should be able to at least get one.
Yeah,
But
a
it's
lot
there's
of
too much
people.
variance there.
It depends on how you handle it, though. Like how Saya's mentioning and Luigi's mentioning. Luigi mentioned you can't do have a rate up system with the wish list unless you do a different banner altogether. And Sai mentioned give whales a 5% rate up, and they'll happily summon for a limited time. And I think that helps in a gacha game because like especially in a game like this type of gacha game where it's less of a unit being rare and more of like the how powerful and the synergy and stuff like that. Like I can understand. I don't know how to put it. Apex Legends, they have like a 1% drop on their special thing. I can't think of the name, and I get that. That's more understandable. That the drop rate is hard because heirloom. Thank you. The 1% drop on the heirloom. I get that because you know it shows. Oh, look, I got something that someone else don't got. But in a game like this, like it Bison ain't that rare. You know, it's more of like how powerful he is that makes it matter. So like having a 1.2 or 2% drop for a Bison, especially when you do have other avenues to get them, it makes it harder on a lot
Well,
of people.
there's three avenues to get him. So you can buy him outright for $100. You can use your gems for divination, or you can hope that you get him from friends or arcade coins. So
Or
like
and you
that,
can also get them from the purple gems, the crystals too.
yeah, the
So
crystals too. So
four
that unit,
ways.
yeah. So the four ways that you can get him, it's achievable, but you have to save up for that divination, and you really gotta. Well, now we're getting into the free to play conversation, and we don't gotta go back there. But
Well, no,
like,
that's the whole point of it. That's why I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to
there's
these
nothing
get
else to
all
div pool for.
interconnected.
He's the only unit you're supposed to div for first. Is Bison.
yeah, yeah. I like the divination units. That system are let's. I want to set a baseline here, just so I know what I'm trying to make an observation on. What are our thoughts between the divination system and the limited ticket system? Are they similar or are they different? And in what ways are they? And like, if we're going to impose a pity system, how would that translate? Would it look similar to would the divination pity and the limited ticket pity look similar, or should they be different? I
I'd
know that
love
was a
for
lot of
someone
questions, but
else.
just answer the last one. Answer the last one. The
I'd love for
limited
someone
ticket,
else to bring to answer that. Does anyone have an opinion on
yeah.
that?
Yeah, they should
I,
both look the same, and the price is completely different. So, like, if you were to assume that the price of the special draw tickets is 3,000 for three, so when you make a 10 pull, you're spending what
30,000.
9,800 gems, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then every single time you make a div pool, you spend 5,000 gems. It should, in reality, the div pool should never have been 5,000 gems. If we're talking like accuracy in terms of pricing, it should have been 4,500 gems, right?
Hmm.
And that would have saved like way more gems if you're talking about just pulling for Bison over the entirety of your account. 500 per pull, probably like 300 pulls. I don't know. What is it? 2% draw rate.
Hmm.
Uh,
I would say so. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, it's
I
2%.
uh, I would say that the both systems are kind of screwed. And if you were to add a pity now, it would devalue what everyone else has done before. And especially assuming that people have only div pulled for Bison.
Yeah, I think as the number of master and infernal characters increases, I think the the divination banner itself should change, or they would have to add a faction banner for those types of like special event banners. Like, here's a master's banner that has increased rates for master units, excluding Akuma, of course. Or here's a master's banner or an infernal banner excluding Evil Ryu. Because as we get more units, we are going to be required to pool for these units in order to, I mean, you don't need to, but it would be nice to have them, right? But where am I going with this?
With
The
an
gem
ever
metric
expanding
is
cast, with an ever
yeah.
expanding cast, that the wish list system is there to prevent the clogging of units. You should be fine. And the fact that you can't pull master unit through the wish list is totally fine. Like those units are not supposed to be part of your core kit. Like they're the excess. In
Mm,
fact, they're what most teams are built around due to the fact that they are the excess.
mm. Okay, I agree with that. I agree. But so going back to the topic of the pity and I think you should just if you do, let's say you do 50, let's say you do 100 limited ticket pools, you should be able to get at least one Akuma. I'll put that out there, or one limited unit from that banner. Like if you do 50 pools, because it costs no, it costs $100 for 40 of the tickets, right? It costs $100 for 40 of the tickets, and it costs let me bust out my calculator here. Calculator. So it's 3,000 gems for 3 tickets.
While you're mathing, let Tix throw out what he wanted to say.
Yeah, 50,000 gems should be able to get you one Akuma or one limited unit, guaranteed. I'll put that out there.
Yeah.
Because with 50,000 gems, you'll be able to pull on average, depending on the free tickets that you get and whatnot, on 50 tickets, you should be able to get at least one of the units. But I see people who pull 80 times and they don't get a single one.
I mean,
So
I don't know how true the story is, but someone did said that they pulled 200 tickets and they only got one copy. So
yeah, I
I'm
think
like, I don't know, but I want to hear what Tix has to say.
Yeah, okay, for me, like, okay, I don't want to compare different versions, right? But the CN version also has those similar thing where you get a chest, like how we get Jen and Jury. We get like a chest that we can get like that. That's like the pity system, or we don't doesn't have to be a chest. You can straight away get the characters. But then
mm,
for me, okay, this might be like a little bit not biased, but it's like okay, it's like oh, you're just saying it because it's your own benefit, right? But then I'm saying it for all different purposes, like in the sense like they don't have a pity system for quite a while now, and people who did spend like okay for whales they don't care if they implement the pity system. I missed out, whatever. And then majority is not like super spenders, and they might get salty or even bigger bitter taste in their mouth. They're like, okay, I spent $1,000, and now in the next patch, like how they implement this pity systems also needs to be in consideration. It's like in the next patch, it's like you know what? If you did spend $1,000, you could have actually gotten X amount more. So it's like punishes you for spending early, and it also makes a future decision like, hey, if I spend this, it's uncertainty. Like if I spend this again, like would they increase the rates again? Like the car system, like will they increase the rates again? Should I buy car system now or just hoard forever until eternity? So what they
the
would do, it's like okay, for example, you did like 2,000 worth of stuff. So like if you did X amount, like if they put a pity system, it doesn't have to be exactly the amount that you put. And for example, like you might have like accumulated 14 SSS or 14 character boxes from the lost pity that you would have gotten if you did spend now, and that would have been enough for you to get like a new character up. Like if their new character like Chun-Li releases, the whales can have a free one for free. This is just a short term. Hey, you know what? Now we have a pity system. You get this character free, but then in the next few character releases, they would have they would feel better and feel good to actually spend. So then it doesn't have to be what I mentioned, like if you spend an X amount on divination, you get like the pity system type boxes in the mail or something like that. So then it doesn't feel like a bitter taste. This is not like perfect, right? Because I could also just seem biased and stuff like that. But
uh,
it also yeah. Okay, you can go ahead.
I'll propose this, and I'm supplementing your idea because I think that there is a way to implement a pity system and to satisfy spenders who have spent prior to the pity, and it's the VIP level. So that's what's gonna set the tone between the spenders is the VIP level. So they would if they had used the VIP level to distinguish players to at what they spent prior to the pity, then they could accurately uh, make decisions based on the data. So like, okay, so we're gonna implement pity. How do we know how much people spent? How do we know who spent? And how do we know how to distribute rewards based on what they spent? And that answer is the VIP level.
That doesn't necessarily mean that they spent it on like character polls, but like
Precisely,
something
precisely.
like a pity system that goes up the higher your VIP is, or I guess goes down rather.
Wait,
yes.
Colin.
It,
You play Epic 7, right, Colin?
I do not.
Oh, okay. I mixed you up with someone else, but like in Epic 7, they implemented a pity system for the Moonlight characters. Moonlight characters
Mhm.
meaning like the Masters and Infernals. And
Yep.
with the pity system, they have in their database every like for me like for spenders, they have okay. You know what? This character in this whole lifespan, I don't know if they have the database here. They maybe do.
it's
Uh,
speculative.
yeah,
A
they have
history of
like
how long they pulled.
yeah, like okay, I in total this person or it doesn't have to be me, pulled like 400, 500 special tickets, right? And then like if we add a pity system of like 100, this is just speculating, like 100, they can put like every maybe two because I don't know if they want to give out a whole, you know, character for free, but
Mhm.
like as a not as an apology, but then like this would have been if you didn't
Compensation.
spend, yeah, a compensation if like have a balance, meaning like it's not too the compensation's too big, but then there should be a compensation for sure for the implementation. Um, but like it doesn't have to be too super generous, like, but it could should be like something that would not leave players that did spend or did pull have a bad taste. I'm not saying just for myself. I'm just saying like, you know, there's examples of players who actually would feel bad with what they did. Like, okay, I missed out. There's this is FOMO again. Like, I missed out. Like, there's a sense of uncertainty as well. So I don't know. I'm not the best decision maker on what they should do. It's just like something, another point in their bullet board that they would do to consider, and then to find the best approach towards that.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, that's those are all good points. Here's something that I want to throw out there too. And we just talked about it. As the roster becomes more diverse, their decisions on unit acquisition can get a little bit more flexible. That's how I feel. I feel like the game, the units that we're talking about, and the game being, I mean, what are we in? We're in June, just June 2nd, and the game came out in March, April, May, June. So it's like 4 months. All right, we're beginning the fourth month of the game, so to speak, because it came out on late February. So as the roster size increases and as there's more units that people can strive for, I believe that they can start being more flexible with certain things down the road, and the pity system can be uh tuned out a little bit more better. But the you brought up a good point is we don't necessarily know if they have that kind of data on what players are doing in the game so much as they're just doing it. Like is there a record or a ledger of actions by any particular user in the database? We don't know. But if they do, it would be like so simple to distribute compensatory items when the pity system, if and when the pity system comes out. Like, hey, listen, we know you tried to pull for Evil Ryu back in June. We're doing a pity system for that unit right now. So here's some compensation for it, or something along those lines. And I'll go back to I'll go back to the VIP level. I feel like the pity system can be reflected in the VIP level, and that metric of verifiable data of people who spend a certain amount, it would stand to reason that they're either spending it outright on gems or they're spending it outright on items like the limited tickets, or what was the last hot? It was limited tickets for the last three rotations, right? It was Akuma, it was it was Gormagala Ken, but
Dante.
that one had a bit. Yeah, it was Akuma, Dante, and Evil Ryu. If we're gonna do a show of hands, how many of whales, just figuratively and speculatively, what do you think they're spending their money on, if not those tickets for those units? So
Right.
the yeah, so that's just my observation. Whether or not that's true or not, I can't say. Dino's probably gonna scold me later on, but
Okay,
the
so
point.
I guess my question here would be, what what would cause a free to play to spend? How do you get how would a business get a free to play to spend? What would be the best way to do it?
Oof.
I think that
I can go first on this one
Sure.
because
I would like Kohler to I want to get a different voice of opinion real quick.
the
fine.
personally, as someone who buys in when whenever I hop into like a new gacha or anything like that, it's always the $5 packs and stuff that I'm like, ooh, those look real good. So I think something like introducing a pity system at like something like 5 or 10, like a really low level that eventually you probably could grind to VIP wise. Um, but you can get right out the gate. Definitely would tide me over.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like if like what Dino said, right? Like this game is catered to casual players. No casuals would have this large sum of money to spend it all, and like their business model of like um because I go to business school, right? So then like if you look at the supply and demand curve, they're evaluating their products super high, so only X amount of sellers would actually buy that amount. Well, if you put it more in the middle, like more amount of buyers would buy it. So then you want to gauge, okay, you know what? I'm gonna spend like either 10 players spend for the $100 packs, or you want to have like 100 players spend for the $10 packs, and both have the same amount of value. But then there's also some added benefits of like, you know what? Since there's more players that spend more, they might have more happiness, and happiness is not calculated in the amount of profits you gain, but it's just like an additional benefit rather than. So then like, their approach for monetization could be, tweaked. But then I'm not a decision maker, so I'm not saying they should. But it's just like saying more 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 packs for the lower spenders rather than just like the $100 packs, or the packs that is like really really high, because no casual players would just spend that much.
Do you guys like legendary characters?
I definitely, right, like the value, like I would spend for the $35, right? Because if if you like Flame Chun-Li, like if you're a simp, people would buy it, right? Like if people like the character, like right now, Flame Chun-Li is also pretty good, so meta players would also buy it. The pricing is definitely nice. I don't know what you guys think about the pricing, but for what it is, it's nice. But also, okay, I'm talking about my free to play, so then I'm saying like they can't make a character that is really, really like Flame Chun is nice. Like it's not like a must-have character. It does help in certain comps. It's good. If they want to have a character that is like paid only, they can't make it where it's a must-have character, or else that's going to be a problem as well. In the sense of like
So
there should
a
be a
bison legendary is no good.
definitely, like it's good for the spenders, but then like if the lower spenders would say, hey, you know what, now it's like if I don't want to play, like if this character is really needed, and like even some players, like some spenders don't even buy the Flame Chun-Li pack because maybe they don't want to spend anymore because of the prior actions that the game does. So then they need a they do gain some respect back, but it's not in the sense of like, okay, you know what, you have free reign to do whatever you want now. Like I'm still have there's some sense of uncertainty in here.
I'm curious. Does anyone have like a counterpoint or something that they want to add on to that?
Kind of to build off of that, like ever since I reached like the 20s and it started giving me the packs that, you know how when you clear a stage, it's like, yeah, you can buy this thing. I've had almost zero interest in buying any of them once it reached like the $25 for the lowest priced pack. Because it goes like 25, then 50, then 100 now where I'm at, and I'm like, I
Yeah,
do not really want to spend that at all.
I'm not even like
And
a big spender. I think I spent like at most 100 personally. But what got
and
me spending was the monthly subscription stuff.
mhm. And so I think that what Tiggs was talking about is definitely like a valid statement where like the lower spending packs are still good later on.
So, as an overall, we're looking for packs with higher value and pity is primarily what would be the best in terms of
Are we talking about only free to play or everybody?
we're talking about like overall like the whole economy. Initially, my question was why should a game cater to a free to play? Well, as a business aspect,
Okay.
why should Street Fighter
I have-
Duels cater to free to play?
I have a small point. As a perspective of a whale or somebody who pays a lot in games, because I pay a lot in every game I play. Actually, the free to play thing is a new trend of mine that I'm doing because I enjoy it, and I have seen that most of the people, the common player base, are free to play and actually don't spend. Just want to have fun with free things and move on with their life. So as a whale, whales don't think about like, oh, I can buy everything, I don't care about money. No, when the price of the packs are not reasonable sometimes, and it doesn't doesn't give the value for the materials inside it. Like when Cole was saying like the packs are getting to 25 and they were like having the same things but it was cheaper or something like that, it also make a difference. And what people love to do is find easy ways to progress in game and have fun. So the legendary stuff, the legendary units are the most units that give you profit, because everybody that pays money, and they are casuals, dolphins, pay to win, they will pay for them. The price tag also makes it's a complete like argument. If you make it so expensive, you're gonna lose the dolphins and the casuals. They will not gonna pay like $100 for a legendary unit until they understand that is it good, is it important, stuff like that. But they will lose interest in buying that, and some people can't afford it. If they make the legendary units affordable, especially with what they did with the 25% and stuff and 50% and stuff like that, they will all go for it. And for as a paying customer, if something like is like for $20 or $25, yeah, I will go for it. I'll buy it. For free to play, what they want is to not have this big gap between them and between the dolphins. They don't care about the whales. As free to play, as Tix as a free to play, like you don't take me and Tix in specific. If you want the normal free to play players, they don't compete actually with the whales. I'm competing with whales. Tix is competing with whales. We started something. We did. The game wasn't that much like spreading knowledge. Not everybody knew the team comps and the Guile thing and the Viper thing and stuff. And we started early with good units, and until people re-rolled and stuff like that, caught up. But the normal free-to-play players, we actually, when I'm a normal free-to-play, I go and fight the Dolphins for the rank 2 and rank 3, not for the rank 1. So when I see that the gap is going so big between me and the Dolphin, because the Dolphin has an option to buy a unit with $10, but I have no access to another legendary unit free-to-play, except like Fashion Blanca, I would like to see units, legendary, they're useful or not, they're very good or they're niche, I want them just to have the novelty of them, just to have a unit that I can 5-star without pulling my heart and soul and everything that I put effort to make it. And I would love to have events with resources that gives me them for free. And this event, if you notice, the stones box that you increase the exclusives with, they're not 25 anymore. They're actually 40. They increased it. If you grind hard, you're gonna get like 4 sets of boxes, I think, or 5 sets of boxes, max. Where there in the previous event, we just the store was dry. We bought them all. So it's kind of these small things that the devs make or don't pay attention to, and we would like them to just appreciate it. If you gave something for free or an event that you grind to get these things, keep the same rate if the people didn't complain about it. We didn't complain about the first one. I don't know why it's now like 40. It cost 40 to get it. This is just like, it's like, oh, you got it easy last time. You built those units. Like, it doesn't hurt. Like, keep it at the same stuff. Yeah, stuff like that.
So that's Hicks. You got anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, okay, with the rates that they're pulling out units and stuff, like if they don't at least keep track on what they're doing right now, or at least a little bit better, like there's no reality or to keep up with like the releases that they give. Because if they're doing like one master or one collab and one not one collab, just like one special banner and one not limited, the divination character and one normal per month, like realistically we can't have enough resources to just build every single one. So then the if they do like what I don't know if it's true, like if they decrease the prices of the boxes, the red boxes, it's just counterproductive because there's we can't keep up if they're just toning down the free to play aspect. Like I think currently for me I'm having a right amount, but what I'm saying is like not everyone has this good amount of resources just because they don't like rank in the top high top. So if they do reduce it just because we some free to play achieve these achievements, then it also negatively affects the lower free to play players.
Yeah,
Experience.
to supplement your point on that, it all hinges on the events and the resources you get from events, and then it hinges on how many units are available in order to uh, what is the word I'm looking for? In order to make it right or validate the need for that. So like the if there's a ton more units in the game, then it stands to reason that they could feasibly increase the rate at which we can pull them because there's so many of them. But right now, in the way that it is, I don't think increasing the opportunities is quote unquote necessary. It would be nice. Um, it would be nice for everybody to have access to Evil Ryu or even Vega too, like to try and tool around with him and stuff like that. But ever since Trendy Cammy came out, I have not touched the divination because I've gotten my Bison already. So like
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna
mid-level-
add that onto that with divination. Like once you finish Bison, who do you get after that?
The new Chun Li now is the trend. I would go for the new Chun Li actually. As free to
Okay.
play,
If
I need
you don't have
I need the
Rose
best
or-
of it.
I don't
Rose,
have
okay.
Rose, I don't have Jury, I don't have Yen.
the thing
But
is-
I
the
don't
thing
have-
is,
thing
for
is,
that, like you get
need
those
one-
2 boxes. Like that's the thing is, I feel like
Okay.
divination's bad
Exactly.
for those units.
Exactly.
Not-
So
not-
like
not
the
only-
amount
Not only you get
the
them for
amount
boxes.
increased. Yeah, the amount increased, so the ways that you get them increased. The amount
Rose
of
works
master
at
friendly units.
one copy. H only works at one copy. They get better when you invest in them, but these units are good at one copies. Right now, I got one copy of Chun-Li, one copy of Rose. I'm there. Like I'm using them. I'm utilizing them. They're helping me. What unit that will make an impact if I use it? And I don't want to use it as main carry or something. I need the assist, the carry to be all over the place to use. It's Gen. It's the perfect unit. Yes, some boxes give you that, and you speed up the process when you go divination with him. 100% he will be on your lineup when you use him. On SS, The dude is working on assist. He works with thunder. He works with flame. He works with wind. He works with everybody. He's a versatile unit. He's a unit that needs investment. Does Chun-Li needs investment? Not that much. Rose, not that much. Of course, if you invest, they will be much better. I'm not saying that they do not need investment. But does Gen work with no investment? No. Does he work with investment? Yes, very much. Jury, does she work without investment? No. Does she work with investment? Yes, but it's very hard to make her run. It needs a whole team to herself. It's very complicated. People don't know how to use her. People that uses her, she's the main carry of their team. So this is why we just put Jury aside, because she's very complex and she wants. I will do a video about it, but she's very complex actually. But Gen is not that complex, to be honest. You switch with his Mantis style and the other style with the C2, and that's it. But he needs a lot of investment. He needs at least 3 cars, and he needs that plus 30 for him to work. And you need him at triple S. Because the more you hire, you invest in him, the more he gets stats, and that's what you need him to be worked on. So if anybody asks me, what should I do in my divination? Get Bison to triple S, 1 copy of Rose. Don't divination for Rose, get her from the shop. But if you want a divination for her, be my guest. 1 copy of Athlete Chun-Li, she will help you a lot on your second team. Unbelievable help. And the unit that you need to go to is Gen so far. Or Trendy Kami. It depends on you. Trendy Kami works with shock teams and works for bosses. But Gen do the same. He works also for this. 1 copy will help. The vortex of her and her passive mitigates 25% of the damage taken, and she buffs you with 20% more attack. Plus, you get 50% more resistance for effects like burn, bleed, shock, and other stuff. And even you don't get armor break on yourself. We tried it on the new Crusade boss. We tried Chun-Li when she does her vortex. You get less stacks of the armor break on yourself. So it's very nice. And there's no enemy that can defeat you later. You don't get one shot, even at chapter 40 and 41, you don't get one shot when the vortex is on the field and you're using shields by Abel or using the C1 of T-Hawk because you get 80% more defense. You never get one shot. People, if you didn't try it, don't say enemy will sneeze. People will read your comment and they will take it as guaranteed because you're at chapter 36. You will be misleading them. If you didn't try it, you have no say on it. I tried it, I have a say on it. So this is how I tell you. In PvP it helps, in story it helps a lot. Okay? I tried it. If you didn't try it, you can't talk about it.
Be good. You gotta be a motivational speaker, dude. Like I'm super like enchanted by what you're saying right now, and but I appreciate the information about the Chun-Li because I have her set in my divination right now, but I'm prioritizing gear for characters that I already have in Triple S. So like my gem economy is different right now. That should change in the next week or so. Because I still have the travel perks available for purchase, so I might indulge in that in a short amount of time. I know that I want to grab the grant for the Evil Ryu, but that's neither here or there. But like I said, appreciate the info on
does the grant give you a copy of Evil Ryu or no?
Yeah, the pass gives you a copy of Evil Ryu, and I have 1 A plus and 1 A rank Evil Ryu. So if I can put those together and get a S rank Evil Ryu, I'm satisfied. To be honest, I would like to get a triple. I'd like to get an SS Evil Ryu for his fighting spirit, but that's in the future if depending on my financial situation.
Listen,
of course.
I want to showcase something for you people here, my friends. Listen. This event is buffing Evil Ryu and buffing his Satsui no Iki. This damage of unbelievable scores that you see with him, he buffs the team, yes, but himself doesn't do that much of damage that you're seeing on the screen, on other content creators, on other videos. They don't address this. They buff this event and the Crusades. When you use him, you're gonna get more damage results. In fact, he doesn't deal that much of damage. You need to keep that. If you're smart, you understand what I'm talking about. stubborn people will just say, no, he's broken. I watched Painblade. Painblade, he's just he gets information from this guy, that guy, that guy, make a video to help the community and break out what he's doing. But other people that puts videos like actually like kabuki, like hazing, and break down units and talk about the goods and the bad about them, these people take them word for word. Okay, this event is buffed for Evil Ryu. After this event, Evil Ryu will be top tier. But he's not like, there's no comparison when you talk about Akuma and Evil Ryu. It's a stupid discussion. I told Hazing, that stupid video that you made, it's stupid. And he laughed. We laughed about it. He's a good friend of mine. Pinblade, I'm now no longer on a talking basis with him. I'm not going to address it why. But if you put like Evil Ryu and Akuma and you want to compare them, that's stupid. Both have different
you can have them on the same team though, right? Or is that's an achievable thing?
Yes.
So
and
like they complement each other.
Wait, so
100%.
this is one thing I would like to throw out when people compare units.
But
it bothers me though.
Can I before I stop, please hold that thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's very bad to play Evil Ryu with Akuma on the same lineup. Ask me why. Because Akuma and his mechanics, please, anybody wanna see how it works perfectly, go to Tix, let him show you a video, let him actually step by step tell you and feed you how Akuma works. People are most whales that really know how to do it, getting high scores. You've seen a lot of whales with Akumas maxed and they do nothing because they don't know how to use him. You don't go with Akuma and you start like with his super, do a C1, then his C2, you'll not get the maximum damage because you want the stacks of your extreme to be still on him. So you go with his super, C1 of somebody else, C2 of somebody else, C3 of somebody else, 2 times. Then you go with Akuma for rotation. This is how you play Akuma. Evil Ryu, also same as Akuma. Why you can't play them both and get the most benefit from them on the same lineup? Because Evil Ryu, when you start with him, you need to start his combo with him to apply the Satsui no Iki twice. So you start with him, 2 for rotation, start with him again, do for rotation, you have 10 stacks. Or 5 stacks at least. So your C1 would hit when you hit a C3 with anybody else. So then you go with another person, you do your full rotation. So if you're having Akuma, he needs to start twice. And when you're having Evil Ryu, he needs to start twice. So you get the best results. So this will not work. So this is why they don't work together.
Okay? I'll say this real quick. So the reason, well, I'll say this about Evil Ryu. He fills in a void for players who have not had access to the Gormagala can. That's why I really feel like he's still like, of course all units have their benefits and stuff, but the information that you're talking about and stuff is for the people like us who open up the hood and figure out how things work and stuff like that.
Actually.
Yeah, but the reason why, what point was I trying to make? Like, what did I say earlier? I was like, oh, Evil Ryu is still viable for players as a unit because it does things that they don't have access to anymore. Because Gormagala and Evil Ryu function similarly, right? They perform their combo without having to be
to an extent. That's the problem that I have that I wanted to add. Like the how people are comparing units, I think is the big issue. I think that is the end of at the end of the day, because like people are like, oh, Viper versus Dawson. I'm like, no, you can't compare them. Like besides the fact that they're DPS, they fit different roles. Like 100% fit different roles. They do not compare to one another outside of just being DPS. I would say Viper and Akuma is a more fair analysis. And then
Viper and any carry is a good analysis. Viper versus Dhalsim, it's not. Viper is a hyper carry. Dhalsim is a time-based carry. He's a carry that takes time.
Thank you. Exactly. You just put hyper carry. That's the thing. Titles. I think they're blanketing everything in terms of Guile's this, Guile's that, Viper's this, Viper's
do you know
that.
Who's the best hyper carry in the game? Who's the best top 1 hyper carry in the game?
Cammy.
It's normal Chun-Li.
I was gonna say carry. I was like, come on,
No,
Pika,
no.
say the words.
Cammy is ain't shit. She's no carry. Cammy is a bossing unit. Point on the line. She
True.
carries you so hard until chapter 24. It's a brick wall. You can kill 2 units and that's it. You can kill more, but you need time. You need the other units to survive, and you don't have the time. She just erases 1 unit. As soon as she hits her combo, she almost kills somebody or fully kills somebody. And you need time for her because she's single target. She picks 1 by 1. But Chun-Li, she erases everybody. She's perfect for Bison stages. She never hits him except with her super and hits everybody else. And there's a specific rotation. If you wanna more enclosure on the rotations, go watch Dombuka on Twitch. He does it perfectly. No single mistake. First try is always on Bison. The guy is a legend with Chun-Li. He mastered her.
Are we gonna take into consideration of people who might be listening to the podcast? Like some people might be still layman's in the game and not fully grasp the mechanics of the game. I'll put it out there. I'm specifically talking about myself, really. Like I'm. We talked about it last week, where I'm sure that I could be doing more in my game to be better at the game, but at the same time, like I'm not. I'm not really striving for that, so to speak. I'm just kind of setting things where I feel they work, and I'm listening to what you guys are saying. But
Do you know why I stopped pushing chapters? It's chapter 35. What all of them told me is chapter 36 2 teams, and I don't want to get there yet because I want to build different characters. I don't want to use Guile, and actually I want to showcase Guile in like 2 scenarios, and that's it, because I still didn't make videos actually about him being that super carry. I made about Cammy, about Viper. I'm building Chun-Li, 1 more car, 10 more stones, and she's 30 and 6 cars. I want to make Guile also 1 more stone for him for plus 30. And actually, you don't need him that much on plus 6. It's very helpful for the stacks. It goes to 7. But what's most important is the plus 30, because you keep those stacks. They don't deplete. So I want to showcase that.
Chun-Li,
And
bro.
I want new heroes. I want
Chun-Li,
to.
bro. I just got Chun-Li triple
also-
S yesterday, and I was screaming. I was like, yes, finally I could build it.
Yeah. She's really good. Actually, she's one of the units that fits in any team because she's gonna crit, okay? Her C2 is 10 attacks. Her C3, I think, is like 6 or 7 attacks. And if she crits 1 time, she fills your combo meter. And you can put her on any team. Have a perfect rotation of a stun lock with her.
Yeah.
And this
Bro,
don't book her, actually.
you're
Like,
preaching
these
to the
spams.
choir, my guy. You're preaching to the choir. Cause Don, I wish he could like speak to and add on to what you were saying. Cause he broke down
Again,
Chung.
There's
It's
one thing.
beautiful.
There's one carry that is super underrated, as free-to-play casuals said, and he's 100% on point. He's smart. It's Poison, the OG Poison. She does unbelievable damage. She outscales Guile. Nobody understands this. She outscale Guile. Again,
I was waiting
Queen
for Tix to
of
say
PvP.
something. Fighting words.
She's undefeated in PvP. She silences the enemy team. She just erases them from existence. She's the best PvP carry. Better than Viper. And
Her silence is pretty good too.
Wait, Sangeev. This is talking about you, right? Like you mentioned about like not knowing the game and stuff. Like when I first started and everything like that, it's all like foreign information, right? But once you have a good fundamental basis of knowledge in the game, you start to know why things work, and when future releases come, you're like, hey, since I know this work and this is currently how it works, like you can gauge on how things might be just because you have groundworks on information that you prior have. So once I tell you some information on why things work and why units are good and why animations are like quite important, and stuff like that, you would start to understand how what makes a unit like must haves and like you don't have to like go and gauge like what others think and just use that as your what you would want to do. Like players play how they want to do. Like if you have a solid understanding of the groundworks of the information that the game has, then you can gauge on how you use the information. So yeah, I'm happy to help you, Zangief.
That yeah, there's a lot of information out there, and I guess it depends on how you take it and stuff like that. Because there's been like the Chun-Li tree has been barked up, the poison tree has been barked up, and there are players where they're like, "Oh, I main Chun-Li," and then I've seen swarms like piranhas. They're like who just go around them like, "Oh, you should be using God, you should be using Viper, you should be using everyone else."
Honestly, you're the one that said it first before. If you remember, at the first month, you said something really important. Nobody noticed it. Like when you talked about it, you said people now do not understand every unit because they didn't build them completely.
Yeah.
Now that they're getting to this point, 6 cars plus 30 on everybody, now they understand, oh, damn, this is what it happened. Yeah, this is why. Now we came to a point that all the whales built everything, but they don't. There's two types of whales: whales that think and whales that are just listening to others and just giving up and just power creeping.
I mean, they're blinded. Not like they don't want to like
Or
chase or
blinded.
they
You
don't
see,
want to.
yeah,
They're blinded
exactly.
because
They
they
see
want to
this
use
shiny in it and use. Exactly.
And you know what? It also matters how, because I remember I said people aren't testing units right, and I've someone got upset and did like, how do you expect someone to test units right? I'm like, realistically, there's multiple avenues, and to claim one way is the appropriate way is a downfall and a hindrance, especially as a theory crafter. Because like I've been saying Dawson is OP since day one, and I've been getting hate from it, and everybody's like, no, no, it's not, and I'm just like, all right, cool. But I also understood that Guile fits a role, Viper fits a role. Everyone fits a unique role. It's just how you look at these units matter. And why I throw out Dawson as is like realistically, no one uses him right. Tix and I were having a conversation previously. In order to use Dawson appropriately, he one is probably the slowest unit in the game in terms of gameplay. What you're supposed to do is manual,
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah.
You're literally supposed to manual and wait like 3 to 4 seconds. Why? Because Dawson is stretching. You need to let this man stretch. Let him get his yoga in. Let him get that, energy built up. And then you'll combo. But then even then, you still have to play it slow. You know that bar that goes around the skills? You gotta wait for that timer to go all the way down. Cause guess what?
There's one person that did it on NA on the guild. What's called Shadowlands.
Uh-huh.
He's the highest score all time. I've never seen anybody score 1 billion damage. He uses Dawson.
And that's because he let Dawson stretch.
I dare anybody who is also gonna be watching this. I dare them to show me 1 billion damage on their scoreboard. And I was playing on Lulu's account. He's on NA. And I was checking his guild, and his guild mate is 1 billion. 1 billion, exactly 1 billion damage. I was like, he's using Dawson. I tried it. I really tried hard. I got to 600 million, but I can't reach that 1 billion. I don't know how he played it. I think he waits, and like Tix showed me, actually Tix, the one who showed me that. I tried it. It gave me the highest score for him.
Yeah.
I couldn't get that 1 billion. I don't understand how he does it.
You gotta
he has
do it
the flame
slow.
Chun-Li and then Fei Long, and I tried to copy paste him, but I don't know what assets give him actually that damage.
So what I understand from Bookish, because Bookish explained Flame Chun-Li to me, and it's literally playing things out with rotations to the maximum potential. with Flame Chun-Li, you have to get 50 stacks. So in the process of getting 50 stacks, you also have to have Dalsum stack his yoga tower. So you're
Okay, what
balancing
Buka
both of
showed
them.
me. Buka showed me a Chun-Li. I think Buka showed me a Chun-Li. Is it you, Buka, that showed me that Chun-Li play, the Flame Chun-Li? So you start twice your combo with Flame Chun-Li. You get the flame penetration, whatever it is, it gets to 50, and then you spend your rotation normally. You start with Dulcim. You don't start with Dulcim, I think. You start with her. Or you start with Fashion Blanca and her on the team with Dulcim. I don't know how the rotation was, but it wasn't with... There was no Bison. It was Fashion Blanca tanking, and he tanks hard.
Yeah, no,
I think
Fashion
he's one
Blanca as a
OP
tank, you have to have him with Fighting Spirit 30 and 6 cards.
Yeah, he tanks hard. So he did the rotation, and everything was burning. Imagine in the guild Shadowlands, you're fighting these units, and above like the what is it, 23 or 24 or 25, the wave, and as soon as they spawn, they melt, they burn, they die. As soon as they spawn, they don't hit you. It's an infinite loop of units against you dying. And I was shocked with the gameplay. It was amazing, actually.
Yeah, I'm actually really curious to see the rotation that he does, because I know for me, I use
You
Fashion
start with two
Blanca.
rotations with Fashion Chun-Li. You need Fashion Chun-Li. So Fashion Chun-Li, start with her super. Of course, she's fully built. Then you use a C1, then the C2 of her again, and then the C3 of Dawson.
Wait, which
You do
Chun-Li?
that twice.
Athlete or Fire?
Fire.
Fire, okay.
So you start with Fire Chun-Li, C1 of Fashion Blanca, Fire Chun-Li, Dalsim. Twice.
Yeah, because I
that's how
think
much
the first rotation gets you close to 20 stacks or something like that. Because if you have Fire Chun-Li's car, she yeets
Yeah.
and the Fighting Spirit, she yeets automatic attacks that give you 7 stacks off the
Yeah,
rip.
and you'll get the 50 stacks from these two rotations. And then you start with Fashion Blanca, C1 of Chun-Li, I think, or her C2. You start with Fashion Blanca, Chun-Li, Fashion Blanca, Dalsim. You end with Dalsim. And you need to stretch it as much as you can for Dalsim to do the tower yoga and to burn everybody. You go actually for 80 stacks or more, I don't remember. Tix told me how much. I think 80 stacks of Yoga Flame Tower with his buff. It's crazy. It's crazy. Her buffs with Fashion Blanca and Dalsim, it's impossible. Like it melts.
Yeah, so that's why, like, when I see people comparing and stuff like that, I'm like, man, there's so many variables that you're missing out in the comparisons that it's kind of hard to like fully agree with someone else. So when I expect, like, again, when someone says Viper versus Dawson, all I like to say is, do you, boo boo? Viper is a backline. Dawson burns the world. They do different jobs. You can't expect them to do the same. Make your own choices and follow your heart at that point, because it's kind of there's so many variables to
Of course,
count.
you,
It's
you
hard.
can't you can't compare Messi with LeBron James. One is tall, one is short. One plays football, one plays with his hands basketball. You can't just compare them. They two are carries for their teams, but two are different. One is hyper, one is not. So Viper is a hyper carry. She goes fast. Deplete all your combos. She's so fast. While Dalsim, you need to cook with him. He's literally the chef of the game. He cooks.
Yeah, and then there's Guile. Like, I'm looking. You know what I am looking forward to? I'm looking forward to the next carry like unit, because we've gotten supports and boss killers. But
Okay, actually, I want to say something for Guile. Guile is a selfish unit and dependent. He depends on buffs. Okay, if you have street poison with him, you stack that buff. He does a lot of damage. If she wasn't existing, he does good damage, not the best.
I
That's
think
it. End of
Guile
story.
don't exist without B Sengif.
And in stages, it's because of Zangief. Not because he pulled them all together. Not only this, but because of his 6 out of 6 cards. If he lands stun on the 3 enemies, you're gonna deal 60% more damage, not attack. Not 60%, whatever. It's 60% more damage. So total of your crit damage on top of it. I explained there's no difference between attack and damage, but there's a the thing is, if your total attack is 100, and you add 10% attack to it, the 10% attack to that 100 is 110. So if you have a 50% crit damage, it means 55. So you add the 55 to the 110, that's 165. So what's damage percentage? Damage percentage is exactly the same, but it's in the total, not on the start. So it doesn't add to the attack. So your attack is 100, you crit damage with 50%, so 150. What's if you have 10% damage, what's the 10% of the 150? It's 15. It means 165 also. So it's the same calculation, basic math. So how do you capitalize on it on events? In this event, we have you upgrade the tree in the Satsui no Iki Awakening. The tree has attack buffs and damage buff. The attack buff is 2% goes to 6%, while the damage buff is 3% goes to 9%. So by logic, what do you take? I take the damage. I don't take the attack. They're both gonna give you the same outcome, but the more percentage you have on one of them is the better result that you do. Clear?
That's a lot of buffs. But what about with Bison?
With Bison, what? Which buff? What are you talking about?
So because you're like you mentioned in Guile with the buffs with Beast and Geef and the shreds and everything like that, and especially now with because I'm noticing a lot of people they hold I don't know, I wouldn't know what's the proper term, but they hold abilities and skills that are not activation required at a higher standard. So I think that's also why Bison and Evil Ryu and Monster Hunter Ken are like up there because they add while just
It's
existing.
passive. Exactly, because they're passive.
So how would you add Bison into that combo with everything that you were talking about, or is it just?
Of course. This is why the standard combo, the perfect lineup in bossing, in stages, and everywhere. If you need interrupt, you can add this. If you don't need interrupt, and you're going straight up bossing, you add Rose instead of Beast and Geef. So it's Street Poison in the tag position, Guile main carry in the anchor, Beast and Geef in front of Guile for the pull to pull them all and give them the stun so they get 60% more damage, and Bison because of his buffs and because he tank and he doesn't die and he explode and he does soul damage, which is pure damage. This is for story and towers and defeating enemies, and in PvP it works also, but it's a little bit hard to pull against Bison teams or same teams. You need different rotations and different lineups to counter everybody. For bossing, why Guile work here? You remove Beast Zangief because you will not stun the boss. It's impossible, and you put Rose. But Rose she applies her C2, and her passives all work. So you get the turrets and you get the cards. You get the attack buff, crit rate, and crit damage and damage. So you get all the factions that you need, and you get more resistance. You get a rewind for your health. If you're gonna die, it will prevent death, and you deal the highest damage with Guile.
Would you suggest Rose over Athlete Chun-Li or no?
Yes.
Yeah?
Okay, so Street Poison gives you pressure, gives you crit rate, and gives you attack. Cool? These 3 buffs that you need them.
Yeah.
Chun-Li gives you defensive attacks. You get 50% resilience, which is you don't get debuffs on yourself and on your enemies less. You get less, 50% less. So half of the debuffs are not applied to you. You get mitigation for 25% of the damage you take, which Rose already does. Rose will revive you if you die, and she gives you heal and health.
And this is with each card is different, right? Each card is a different stack of.
Yeah. You have crit, pressure, you have damage reduction, stuff like that. But you can use them. You can use them, but it's not for the. You need the C1. The most important thing for Sweet Poison and Athlete Chun-Li is the C1, which is better. Defensive wise is Chun-Li. Attacking wise, it's 100% Sweet Poison, because the Toxic Love stack, and it gives you a lot of pressure. You don't miss your hits. It gives you a lot of crit damage, which is what you aim for actually, because if you crit, you almost do everything. With Chun-Li, she gives you only 20% attack. With Sweet Poison, you get 15% attack.
So
Okay, but you get the pressure and the crit.
Can you do a team? I'm just throwing this out there because like you got me thinking. Could you do something like Bison, both poisons, and a Chun-Li?
Yes, it works.
Because
But
like
you don't need
you're
that.
rotating the battery of Chun-Li, you're silencing, and then you have the damage buffs. Would that actually be a cohesive, synergistic team?
What you're talking? Okay, don't forget you have the faction buffs. So if you have 4 of the same, you get the 20%, 20%, 20% defense and 20% attack. And this is also important. Losing one of them like to plus 15, it's okay, but you always want to maximize this. So Guile, Street Poison, Rose, and Bison, and support Chun-Li, normal Chun-Li on let's say Guile, will give you the 4 buffs, which is super important because you will get that 20% damage on him, and you'll get buffed by crit percentage because of Chun-Li's assist. So it's the perfect lineup for anything, bossing or whatever you want. For stages and tower, you need the stun, and you need the buff from the stun, which is 60% more damage. 60% more damage is OP. It's broken. The 6 cars from Beast Zangief is broken. The 3 cars of Beast Zangief is broken. You will stun no matter what. You will apply the stun, which is the 60% more damage no matter what. Guile will just shred everybody. If you want to go for straight up rotation with like auto attacking and never die, the team you want them to never die, that your team, you put Athlete Chun-Li because her vortex will soak a little bit of damage and give you more resilience and give you 20% more attack. And you use Guile, and you use on the same lineup Beast Zangief, let's say. If not, if against bosses, you use Rose, and you use Bison on tanking position. He won't die. He will deal incredible damage. You can replace him, of course, with Ken. Of course, you can always replace Bison with Ken. Well-built Ken, of course. 5 stars, 6 cars, plus 30, good gear. But I'm talking for people, normal people that want to build everything of this. You use Bison, not Ken.
That's interesting. I think this is a good avenue to end it on. Just understand, for those listening outside and everywhere, it's play your game the way you want to play. There's no wrong way to play it, and there's no right way to play it because everyone's different. Like how Pika and Tix, they're the ones that spearhead competitive free to play, and we're grateful and appreciative for the information and knowledge that they have, and also for other content creators and players that will do things like we're appreciative of everyone in this massive ecosystem of a gacha game. So just take everything that we say with a grain of salt, and enjoy the game because it's a game. What's that gif or that meme? Why you mad? It's just a game. Like it.
Yeah.
That's
Well, you have
literally
to
it.
be mad. It's just a game.
Exactly. Don't be mad. Don't be angry. Just enjoy the time that you're playing this game. Thank you for listening. This has been a wonderful Friday Fighters podcast. I will be sharing the Reddit as frequent and as often as possible. Just help build the community. Does anyone have anything they want to say before we close it out? No?
Yeah,
All right.
thank you for everything. And if you want to talk to anybody, talk to Tix. He's the encyclopedia. We actually take time of our lives and go do team PvP, actually live versus each other with no gears to check stats and everything. This is why he's promoted to a helper. Go talk to him. Don't listen to what he's saying right now. Just go straight up, talk to him. If he doesn't talk to you, report him to me. I'll deal with him.
Yeah, that's what. Thank you. I want to add on to that for the Discord server. You know, even though it's a small community, it's a wonderful growing community. We're already past 20,000 members. We have selected helpers in the community. We select them because they're informative, they're respectful, you know, and they're known within the community. It's not like we're just randomly grabbing a Joe Schmo. No, we have people who care about the game and the community itself, and they're always here and willing to help. And even outside of that, we have many wonderful, intelligent players that are very opinionated and willing to debate. So please, you know, come check us out. Just like, comment, subscribe, and Friday Fighters are out.